Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's your boy Jedi Granville here on Jedi Granville Productions, and guess what? Your boy is doing it for the first time. Whatever that, what you taking that? My first live stream here on my on my own channel, and trust me when I say I'm excited as hell. And what I got with me right now to go along with me, Mr. J. I'm nervous already. DJ Anubis, welcome to the show, brother. Show yourself. And you see what I'm going with, though.
Yes, I do.
But how are you
He's
doing?
a little nervous. He's a little nervous, but he's got this. He's got this.
Yes, I got this. Don't worry. And why are we here? Let me bring in some of the comments here showing yeah, good old sci-fi is in there in the house. Of course, he's got a couple of others right there, and he's saying there's a dust storm going on.
El Paso.
And he's saying that, and cousin, yeah, yes, and oh yeah, right here. Oh my God, it's happening. Yes, it's happening. Like that happening. It's like, what's his name? Homeboy.
Mark Wahlberg.
They say, oh no, nothing like that. Okay. Well, while I'm making a fool of myself here, in fact, let me take that off. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're live. We're going by 5x5. So why are we here in this particular realm right now? Well, me and Anubis are going to be breaking down a fan favorite of ours, film-wise, and that is, get it on here, The Hitcher, which was released in 1986 through TriStar Pictures, and it stars Jennifer Jason Leigh, Lee Thomas Howe, and it was directed here with Robert Harmon, which is standing by Mr. Legendary Rutger Hauer, rest in peace, who just, I gotta say, this film, let's kind of break it down with this. This film, now it says it's a kind of psychological thriller, but I've been hearing terms of this movie being like, it's like a slasher film, a psychological thriller, but also an action picture. So just to kind of break it down, in your opinion, Anubis, how would you describe it in your own words?
Definitely has elements of action. Mainly the cat and mouse between John Ryder, played by Hauer, and Jim Housley, played by C. Thomas Howe. But it has a little bit of horror elements in it, especially towards the end. But then again, it also has the thriller aspect. Like I said, the cat and mouse stuff is almost, it's not really a mystery because we know what's going on from the beginning, basically, when it gets picked up from Housley, because Rugger's playing like a hitchhiker that's catching a ride.
Right.
But it starts pretty early about the cat and mouse stuff, the thrill, and then exactly what is the goal of John Ryder? Like, what is he trying to do? Why is he terrorizing Hal so much? And so you and I will be breaking down this film about like when we first saw it, like what we feel about it, and how the story plays out.
And an interesting thing, it's interesting about this film. I know when I first saw the advertising for it, I was kind of like taken aback because I could see the psychological or thriller aspect of it and everything, but I never imagined that there were so many elements of pure action. There's some amazing stunt work in this film, which we'll get to. And it's just kind of like, wow,
I said the same thing. Some of those cop car chases, like, that was some real shit there. That was like back in the golden age of stunt driving.
Yes.
Some of the stuff, the cars rolling, and yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's crazy because I know with me, it's kind of mesmerizing knowing that you can take a film and say, okay, this is an action picture, or something is a comedy, or something is sci-fi, but this movie has different elements that attest to that. It's like, as you mentioned, it's just a mixed bag of whatever it could be, and I'm just like, wow. You just never imagined it could be like that, so, but let's get into this. And let's go into, as we mentioned, when was your first introduction to the Hitcher?
I didn't see it in the theaters, but I do remember it probably when it came out on HBO box or whatever it was I had at the time. But certainly when it came out on TV, and of course it had to be HBO because I definitely saw the unrated version or the rated R version. And I just remember like when I first sat down with it, I didn't know anything about it, like nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't hear anything about it. Sat down, was watching it, and immediately from the get go, I was just entrenched in it. I just watched it all the way through, and by the time I was done with it, I couldn't remember if like I was just like I knew I loved it, but like just something about the performances in the film just stood out to me, especially from Howard. So it's like
Mhm.
it just stuck with me all these years. That's why, like, when you and I were talking behind the scenes, I'm like, had you not done this, it would eventually have popped up on my
Right.
podcast somewhere. You know what I mean? So,
And like you said, you got so many other stuff that you're going through. It's like
and I
it's
will
gonna
say
come up there.
this: I know they made a remake. I did not watch it, and I will not watch it.
And and I'm gonna say to my audience too, and you too, it's like we are not going to mention that 2007 trash because it was just a remake grab, crap that Hollywood tends to do, and Hollywood has a tendency to just remake stuff that was pure in the day. But it seems like, well, let's see if we can make some money to this nowadays audience. Like, no, that doesn't work that well. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
But for me, I'm kind of the same way with you. I saw this film on HBO, but my first introduction to it was a special on ABC where they were showing the many stunts of the films that were out at that time. I mean, going back from like late 50s on until now. And the one thing that they showed was this particular scene here, which I was kind of taken aback because I was like, is this from the Hitcher? Was this moment right here?
yep,
This was a moment where I said to myself, whoa, this is in this picture. I wasn't expecting to see anything that immense in that moment where you see two cars flipping over and you're thinking like, okay, where is this coming from? It's like, okay, this is what this is. So I said, I want to see this picture. When am I going to see it? So when I did eventually see it on HBO, I was, just like say, okay, well, it's starting out differently than what I thought it was going to be. It's doing whatever it's doing, but it's like it's going in a different path that I didn't expect it to go. So
yeah.
knowing that it does do that, it is it is just like you say, yeah, like I say, yeah, remakes are trash. If they're done well, great. But if they're done like really poorly, I don't give them the time. But it was that introduction to that particular stunt that say, okay, that drew me in. So what am I going to expect to see when I see this film eventually? But let's get into the meat and bones of it. In fact, let me break down the when I say the
Plot
plot
synopsis.
synopsis. It's basically this. It's story taking place in the time of '86. A young character played by Jim Halsey, played by C. Thomas Howell. He's delivering a car, which is called a drive-away, which is something I've never heard of even back then. He's driving it from Chicago to San Diego. And along the way, he picks up a hitchhiker. He's like a mid, like say 18, maybe I don't know if he's 18 or 17 or something like that, but he's a young person. And funny enough, C. Thomas Howell was like 19 when he did this picture because he was they filmed it in like 85.
How great this is! Like opening lines, like my mom told me never to do this.
That is look, let's be honest. If you started with that, that should have been the line right there to say, okay, we're done with this picture. It's like I say, your mom told you not to do this, and it's like, you know what? Let me drive off. Bye. It would have been the end of the movie. But as we have to know in anything in the film, someone has to do a dumb deed, and he does the deed of picking this man up, which is Rutger Hauer, of course, legendary. Let me put his picture up again. Well, no, let me put up no, let me put up this one. This one here. This shot right here, I love this shot of him, rising, and it's like it's the momentum. It's like it's a presence about him when he does that kind of stuff. It's this guy's character that's such a malevolent force, but you don't really see him play this because he's, from what I was told, the character was supposed to be kind of skeletal, kind of whatever. And the funny thing is, there are other people besides Rucker who was supposed to play this part. There was Sam Elliott. Someone said like Sting, singer Sting, and various others. And I'm just like, I can't really see that. I mean, maybe you could, maybe they could pull it off, but I guess because Rucker was
Well,
someone
that's usually how it happens because if you go back and you're looking at trivia, and it doesn't matter what movie it is, you always say to yourself like, "Oh wow, they were going to audition for this," and then you're like, "I just can't see it." And I think a lot of times it's because said actor who we usually, because we revere these movies so much that like they're iconic characters that they play, so like you never can envision anyone else doing it, even though maybe they could have done a good job. But the reality is like sometimes the actors have done such a good job, you're just like, no way, and in no way.
And that's kind of the thing with certain actors and actresses in certain roles. Like, you probably heard this about a billion times that Will Smith was originally supposed to play Neo in the original Matrix. And well, he turned it down for the Wild Wild West, and well, we see how that went. So, oh, here we go. Hey, yeah, let me see. Yeah, what's up there, Tony? Yes, how you doing, brother?
Tony of the fucking dead.
Exactly. Hope you're doing well, brother. It's a good Friday, and it's always going to be a good Friday. But this film was directed by, I mentioned, Robert Harmon, who you really, and that's another thing. There's people who are attached to this film who did not, I didn't hear about before or after in terms of what their style was, But the script, I should mention, which was written by Eric Red. If you find out, it's kind of like with the first Rambo film or First Blood. This film was originally going to be, almost from what the material was, a 3-hour long film. Okay, I mean, you might want that, but I don't think you necessarily want to go that route in terms of a 3-hour slasher horror film. I mean, it doesn't seem like, no, you want to cut all the fat. You want to take out what's unnecessary and put in what's going to be the driving force for the film. And thankfully, they did rework it, and it became what it is now. So, but
Yeah,
let's
apparently Red actually did scripts for Near Dark, Bad Moon too. So those are a couple other great
Bad
films.
Moon. I was kind of surprised about that when I saw that. It's like Bad Moon he did wrote up. I was like, huh. Yeah. And curious enough, his backstory of certain things is kind of I won't mention it here, was kind of unsavory. It was kind of like, okay, he went through all those ordeals, but we won't get into all that. We'll just get into the story and kind of just dissect it a little bit because it's pretty simple. Like I say, starts with the Jim Halsey, driving along, and the funny thing is, let me mention this too. This film takes place in Texas, Sci-Fi's home state, but it was filmed in Nevada, California, and Arizona, respectively. So, hey, whatever works, that's what they use. So he picks up this gentleman named John Ryder, and it's like, like you mentioned, he mentions like, my mom told me never to do this. It's like, yeah, listen to your mother, listen to your papa. Don't do these things. There's a reason why they tell you these things. So they drive, like I say, he picks him up. He seems, whatever, just typical individual he picks up. But along the way, before he even picks him up, we see this beetle pass by him earlier, and it runs past him. We just like, okay, just some random, car going past. We see this car again, and While Ryder's in the car, he sees the car and he pushes his Halsey's leg down to kind of accelerate it past that. And he's like, "Okay, what's going on? What are you doing?" You know. And at the same time, he's telling him that, well, I ran out of gas. I was like, okay, so you need gas. Cool. Well, this is where things get a little strange because he's like, Halsey asks him, "What do you want?" And immediately the writer starts laughing, saying, "That's what the other guy said." What other guy? The guy that was driving that car back there, and he tells he wouldn't be able to get too far. And what does he say to him? It's like he asks him the question like, "Why?" Because I cut up his hands and his legs and his head, and now I'm going to do the same to you. It's like, and you see, and look, I gotta say, C. Thomas Howell plays it really well when it's like, okay, I'm in a very, very intimate moment, and it's very unsettling. So I'll let you, kind of pick up the pace on that moment when these things go along, because it's interesting how this, because that's one thing I got to say about this picture before we go, before you take over. It's interesting how you don't know, and I love this film for this. You don't know where it's going to go in terms of where it's going. So, but let me let you have the reins on this, brother.
Yeah. So, obviously, Halsey picks up John Ryder, and they pass the Volkswagen Beetle that he was initially hitching a ride in, which you explained. That's when Ryder tells him that I killed the guy that was giving me the lift. But it started becoming Halsey wasn't really sure if he was joking. Like, it's just back and forth. And like, I like how Howard plays the role, because it's like you really don't know if he's being serious or not, if he's just a fucking fuck around, just a troll. But they ended up coming across like this minor accident where they have to slow down. It looks almost like a DUI checkpoint in some ways, and they've got cones and flares and shit. So one guy who's working on the area trying to clean up the mess, he's knocking on the window of the car. And before Halsey can put the window down, Rugger takes his switchblade, which is retracted at that moment, but puts it right next to his crotch. And the guy on the other side of the window, he's like, yeah. He starts asking about the Chicago plates because, he's like, yeah, I'm from Chicago. And they start having a little bit of a talk. And I guess they were Ryder's trying to get them to move along. He doesn't want Halsey to say anything because obviously he'll just cut his balls off, basically. So the guy looks down and sees that he's got his hand in his crotch. So he's assuming that they're like lovers, like he's, gay lovers. So he goes, all right, lover boys, or lovers, get moving, move along. Yeah, so they start going and start proceeding. And then there's a little bit of back and forth, Ryder's basically fucking with him with the blade around his eye. Like, you ever seen an eye punctured, and blood jetting out and stuff like that. And so, at this point, fucking Halsey is terrified. Like, doesn't want to die. And Ryder keeps saying, well, I want you to stop me. So Halsey sees that his door on his side where Ryder is sort of ajar, and he's not in his seatbelt. So he takes a huge gamble and says, I want to live. And he pushes him out the door. And I think this is really, I don't know too many people that talk about it when they review it. I mean, I haven't watched a massive amount of reviews on this, but it's still raining out. And of course he gets him out of the car, and Halsey's excited. He's like, yeah, woohoo, I got him, fuck him. So he keeps driving. And so, but we see the moment you showed with, And so he gets up, and I think this is the moment really where John Ryder thought, wow, I've got a challenge here. This is interesting.
Yes.
Because, he's never had someone fight back in this way, the basically kind of outsmart him. And I think that's what he really enjoys here. And that's why we get this long, drawn out cat and mouse game.
Yes.
But then, the day's coming along, the rain stopped, and, Halsey's driving along again, nice desert area, a lot of great scenery and the driving,
Yeah,
not a lot
well,
going on.
that's I was gonna say I love the cinematography in this picture. I mean, that's one of the things I feel that it really holds up in terms of you're filming the landscape, and the landscape is almost a character in itself in this picture. Because you have the vistas or the mountains in the back, but you have the desert settings. But that is what hones in and saying like, okay, you're in a vast world of almost nothingness, but you're alone with this psychotic, whoever he is. It's just this malevolent force that's trying to really do people in. And we find out, like I say, coming up as he's driving down the road, he's figuring like, I'm never going to see this person again. I'm good. Has his family passing by in this station wagon with a boat in the back, just simple
This is like my favorite part of the movie.
this, oh my God, this is a moment. I don't even have that. This is a moment where, like that he's playing with some kids that, they're doing this shooting, just the play acting there. And you see this teddy bear in the back, and you're just thinking, you don't think twice about it, but you don't even see, that's the thing about this. This is really well shot. You don't even see Rucker Howard until he pulls the teddy bear back. And it's like, and the music really sums this up. It's like emphasizes like, oh shit, there's danger right there with this family.
Yeah, the look from being total joyful, playing fake shooting at the two kids in the back, to seeing Ryder's face when he gets behind the teddy bear and he's like terrified. He's like, oh fuck, there's like this entire family here, and he already knows this guy's dangerous, and so he's rushing up beside him, honking and looking like a crazy guy. It's like the guy in the back, like again, it's like almost like planes, trains, and automobiles.
Right.
Like, you're on the wrong side of the fucking road, dude. But
right.
like in this case, you got like a lunatic in the back. And the family, the mother and father, just like, what the fuck is going on with this dude?
Yeah.
But then, of course, a truck comes the other way and basically sideswipes him a little bit. Now, I've read that there was like a 3-hour version of this film that probably was never put out, but apparently there are scenes where Ryder does a lot more detail in the gore. So I don't know how that would have turned out. I mean, but when there is a moment where Halsey catches up with the car, and he goes to look and see, and then they don't show it, but you get the gist of what's going on. Like the entire family's just been fucking slaughtered inside the car, and the kids as well. So that tells you already just the whole idea behind it is like, my God, you see like blood dripping from the door frame and stuff like that. I'm just like,
but that's
if they had shown that in the theaters, there would have been a big ordeal about that.
But it's funny you mentioned that because I did read that the script was a lot more gorier than people think. You think what you see in the film is bad. The script was a hell of a lot more, detailed in the gore. And I'm just like, damn, I mean, this is going into horror, territory, and I think this is what works best for this film is that they don't show the gore. Your imagination pretty much emphasizes what the outcome can be. In fact, as a scene that's going to come up later, we'll talk about when we get there, that's really emphasized in terms of what's going to happen. And then it's like in the 2007, they actually show it. It's like, there's no mystery, dude. It's like you're robbing the audience of what their own thought process of how this works, But no, it's it's really funny knowing that this guy has no empathy whatsoever, no compassion whatsoever in terms of whoever he does. I mean, women, children, especially children. Like the younglings. He didn't even spare the younglings.
Did you get a sense though that, and I didn't think about it back then, but rewatching this the other day, I sort of got the sense that Ryder kind of wanted him to kill him, because every time the whole cat and mouse thing was about him trying to stop him from doing what he was doing. And it's almost like he kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him until really Halsey had no choice at the end. Like, it's like, but that's sort of what I kind of got. It's like, I don't know if that's what Ryder was kind of waiting for. I know I'm kind of like maybe overthinking everything, but the way the character's written, it makes me think that this guy's been going on killing people left and right, but he was looking for the one person that would just put him out of his fucking misery.
And you know what? And now, truth be told, watching a film like this, you and I'm kind of like you, might be overthinking certain things, but at the same time, I come up with my own theories. That's the thing. It's like he wants someone to stop him because, as you say, when he got pushed out the car earlier, he found someone that's like, okay, this is a pure challenge. This person could be the one to just take me out. But here's another theory that I've come across that some people have said. Could John Ryder be, or literally be, I mean, not to say that he is, could he be the right hand of the devil? Could he be a, spirit in a sense, a very evil minion, reason why he's able to get from certain places? I mean, true enough, he's able to drive, he's able to do these things, but he gets from certain places, and this is one of the reasons why he does these malevolent things, And also, there's a subtext that someone said that this film is kind of a homoerotic kind of feel to it, because these two individuals are literally kind of, I'm not going to say that what it is, but it's almost like a love situation between them, because this guy, he's killing because he just loves to do it, but he feels that he fell in love with somebody who escapes his clutches, but be the one to actually take him out. So it's
I don't know if that's really the angle I get out of it. I mean, I would say that if there's an alternative to the wanting him to kill him, I think the other alternative is, does he want to make him into another one of him?
Well, that, and that's a good point too, because it's not really, that's the thing. This movie really does leave you with questions. It doesn't really give you answers, which in my mind, I feel that makes a good film anyway, because in America, especially in Westernized, it's like we need every question answered all the time. It's like, yeah, you do, but then again, does that not give you a chance to really think about why this is being done? Why is this person doing what they're doing? So, but to carry on with the story, okay, he's found the car, he's seen that they're killed, and he's trying to contact the police who are, and this is something right here. Seeing that Texas is like the biggest state in the United States, you be wondering, where is everybody, and that's one thing about this movie. It has a very small cast, very small. It's like, where is everybody? It's just everything spread out to hell and gone, So he comes up to the one repair shop or gas station, and it looks so dilapidated, it looks so, just old and run down. Try to find a phone, try to call the police, and it's not working. And in the midst of trying to find something to call the police, there's Ryder standing there. He's not trying to attack him. He's not trying to go after him. He just has his keys in his hands, drops them in front of his face, and leaves. Whereby, and this is where there's a dust storm going on and everything. You see him get into this pickup truck with this couple, and he rides off with them, and he, Halsey tries to stop them, and it's like they're gone. They're literally gone and everything. So we don't have to see that. Well, that couple is pretty much dead. It's like he has no leniency whatsoever. So continue on. Some time has passed, and the one thing I should mention too, this story takes place in a length of less than 2 days. That's the thing about it. It starts early that Saturday morning on into the evening of, late Sunday, let's say that was Sunday afternoon. So he, is driving. He's saying, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this. Forget about it. Just drive. Don't think about it, Here he comes, bumping it to the back of him, letting him like, no, you ain't out of the woods now, bitch. You're in the jungle for sure. Pushes him, knocks, and just kind of jolts.
I think it's safe to say that at this point, this is where you talked about this movie starts to become more of our action. Like we're getting into action stuff now.
Because because see, this is the unexpected twist for me, maybe for you, I'm not for sure for you, you may not have thought that was the edge too. We are diving into total car carnage, and trust me when I say I love the action stuff in this movie. It's just like it fits so well. It's not action upon action. It's action where it's necessary, and it adds to the immense just overall immense feel of the film. So he sees that this guy is just taunting him. He sees him everything, and I'll let you add on to this because this is coming up on one of my favorite moments in this film. So I'll let you take it from this point here.
Yeah, so we're gonna go right to where he meets Nash.
Well, no, it's that gas station sequence.
Okay, so yeah, so he's at a gas station. It looks like it's either shut down, abandoned, or like maybe we find out there's a reason why. But he's in there looking for a phone and trying to find. Then he runs into Ryder again, who throws him the keys, and then.
Well, no, not that part. I mean, it's the part
when he drives out with the truck.
Truck, yes.
All right, yeah. So he's ended up getting chased out because once he walks out of it, the Ryder has a truck that he's driving. He just smashes through the fucking garage. And this truck's badass, by the way. It's like a Ram, Dodge Ram, but it's pretty sweet. Not fancy, just cool, basically. But basically tries to run him over with it. And then also ends up making the gas station explode as he runs out the tanks, and he started lighting a match outside the fucking window of the truck.
This moment here is such a. I gotta say, dude, this is something I was not expecting to see. I'm like, man, we got explosion in this bitch. Because he lights it on fire, and then when you see that car coming around the corner on fire, I'm like, oh shit, it's like this is
right.
I'm just like, I was not expecting that, that's why I say it's one of my favorite scenes in this film because it's like it's unexpected. This whole film is so unexpected of what it gives you, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? What is he really doing in this picture? But what is he? Like, why is he doing these things? As I said, it leaves you with more questions than answers. So, but I can say that's one of my favorite. But I think the more favorite coming up with Nash. But I should mention too, in case you didn't know this, that's actually Rutger Hauer driving that truck in that sequence. Okay, you know that. Okay, and I was kind of like,
apparently he did some of these stunts himself that even impressed the stuntman at the time. Like he was driving and doing some of the stuff. So that's really cool.
I'm like, that's kind of a what you call a double-edged sword for where you're an actor, but you could just stunt drive the hell out of a vehicle. I was like, okay, that's like I say, he's a living legend. I mean, he was in Blade Runner and some other things, but it's like he can drive his ass off if he wants to.
Yeah.
So, but let's get to that part there with he goes to when he gets introduced to Nash, and yes, I feel like I think you'll be better commenting on this one because this is a moment in the film where you feel like he's in a safe zone. This is one of the things about this film that I feel is such a gratifying thing or kind of upsetting thing is that you feel like anytime he's in a safe mode or kind of a quiet moment, that all gets shut down like in a hurry. And this moment here, when I say moment, it takes a minute, and I love the build up to the moment that's coming. But I'll let you explain what happens in this moment.
Yeah, so Housley ends up coming across this cafe, and it's actually very early. So this is where we get introduced to Nash, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who gets off the bus. I guess she takes a bus to get out there to work. She's a waitress there, so she opens up. Housley gets there, and he's like banging. He's like, I need to use your phone. She's like, we're not open. He's like, no, I need to use your phone. It's an emergency. So she eventually gives in. She's about the same age as him, so they're both like teenagers or whatever. And So he goes to use the phone. He starts explaining what happened. She's kind of like eavesdropping a little bit, but she starts cooking up a hamburger and some fries for him out of the nicest of her heart. And she starts kind of just giving him, some small talk about, he doesn't really give too much away, but he's like thankful that she's giving him food. And
Yes.
yeah, I think I'm with you a little bit where it's like you kind of think that this is just gonna be one of these like relaxed moments of the film because it's like, okay, we've had all this craziness. Now we're gonna have just a little bit of a low. Cops should be on their way. He'll probably give them their story, but he's sitting there eating, and she kind of goes to the back, and he's eating. Just so the great shot, eating the fries,
Yes, I love that. Yes.
and then all of a sudden he goes to eat, and he looks, and it's like a finger, a human finger, and he freaks the fuck out. And this tells you where Ryder is like almost 2 steps ahead of him every single time.
That's and see this is why I was saying about the element of him some kind of phantom that he's able to do this, but I feel he did something earlier and put that in his but it's like he's in there. How did he put that figure in? It's but go ahead.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden the police show up, and he's thinking, great, this is great. Finally I'm gonna be able to put this asshole into the chains or whatever. And so he goes out there, and the cops are pulling the guns on him, and they're telling him to get down. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So of course he's like, look at my wallet, like my wallet and stuff, and you'll see who I am. I'm just driving this car from point A to point B. But as pulling out his wallet and stuff, they pull out the switchblade that Ryder had, and it's got blood on it and stuff. So clearly one of the problems here is that when Halsey called the cops, he's like, yeah, I know who killed those people on the road. So the cops are pretty much like, well, maybe this dude's just self-confessing. Maybe this is what this is. Because they haven't really had a clue who's doing it. And then this person calls out of nowhere. So that's part of the reason why they're taking him in. But they find the knife, and that's even more incriminating evidence. But, of course, Nash comes out. She's like, what are you doing? And then, of course, the cops are like, well, this guy's wanted for murder. And, Halsey's like, I didn't do this. Somebody's been following me, and a hitchhiker, I picked up has been killing people. And my day's been really sucky. That's how I'd like to put it.
Yeah.
So they take him to the station, which again, out of fucking nowhere. Like, I think they were supposed to get some more cops. It became like it'd be like 2 hours or something for them to get there. Some crazy ass shit. So they're interrogation. They're interrogating him, and one guy, I forget who the actor was or the name of the cop, but he's really driving him hard. But Halsey's like, dude, do I look like I'm killing people? And he's like, that doesn't matter. Like, the fact is, this knife's on you, and we don't have any other leads. So, but once they put him in lockup, the same cop's like, yeah, there's no way this dude killed anybody, because he's like this scared kid, basically,
scared rabbit. Yeah.
But again, this is the funny thing about this scene. The next one that comes up is that it reminds me a lot of what Halloween 4 did, or 5. I can't remember which one it was. It had to be 5, or at the end of 4. I can't remember. But he's in lockup. He's in the cell, and he's getting rest. Like, he's been tired. He's been driving all night and shit and all the craziness. So he's getting rest in the cell. And as he's doing it, he's dreaming about Ryder and violence and guns, and even hears what he thinks is guns. But he comes up out of his dream or whatever and wakes up and realizes that his door to the cage is unlocked. And for anyone that's ever seen the end of Halloween 4, it's much like that. There's a scene where somebody gets locked up, and then somebody comes in shooting up the place and allows Myers to get out or whatever. Or in this case, I think it was Jamie or somebody, but either way. So he sees the doors open, and then all of a sudden he's looking down the hall, and there's that German Shepherd.
Yes, I love that moment.
It just looks at him, and he's like looking at it like, you're not gonna fuck with me, are you?
Yeah, it's like, he's literally almost a symbolism of a lone wolf. I mean, that's what Hauser's character is like, and he's exactly that same thing. This dog comes in and it's like, I'm just a wandering, person in on this adventure too. I'm just someone here doing this. Yes, and it's again, this is another moment where it's like, okay, should be in a safe environment. You should be in a safe place. If you're not safe in a police station, this proves right here and there. It's like you're not in a simple scenario, my friend. You are in a very gauntlet of, horrific things that are happening. And when we see the dog, comes in, and you hear all this stuff on the radio, back and forth calling and everything, and you just I got to give the composer Mark Islam. He's a brilliant composer. He really ramps up the juice in this film, and in this scene in particular, where you just hear it just kind of eerie, kind of unbalanced favor, and he's gradually walking in, and it's like, what's going on? It's like, and you hear the dog, stop for a second, and you hear this kind of liquidy licking or whatever. You don't know what's going on, and the music just kind of ramps it up when you turn the corner and you see that he's licking on this dead cop's body. I was like, no, what the fuck? It's like, oh God, it's like what the hell's going on? It's like these cops are dead, and then he pulls back. You see another cop has been shot, probably with a gun, with a shotgun, and the other cop is dead. I was like, damn. In my mind, I was like, damn, you mean to tell me these guys wasn't safe? You mean he wasn't safe from this? He's in a police station. That should be the safest, place for anybody, if they're guilty or not, be safe. Well, as we've seen many times in movies before, maybe in real life too, police stations are not always the most efficient place for safety. So,
well, I think that's the thing, is that, we're starting to realize in the movie now that Ryder's definitely trying to make at least Halsey look like an accomplice to everything he's doing. But, again, when they put him in jail, they didn't really believe he's the killer, but they had no one else. I don't know how, like, they never show you when Ryder shows up exactly what happens, only the shotgun blast and stuff like that. So, but, Ryder he's very conniving. He's very clever, and he does a lot of things in this movie that you're just like, wow. Again, he's like 2 steps ahead of everything that's going on. So yeah, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. Take it from there. It's just the mentality of and I love how you mentioned it's a cat and mouse kind of thing, because you think like, why is he letting him go in terms of he's going this way, and you don't know where he's going to go. You don't know where it's going to take place. So he finds one of the guns that the cops use, and he takes it, and here comes a cascade of cops coming in, trying to say what's going on, about to raid this place. He gets out, yep. He runs, and we do a quick, dissolve, and shows that some time has passed. We don't know how much time. And he's walking, and he comes across. I gotta say, there's a lot of gas stations and diners in this place, from
right.
What we're seeing, but which I guess makes sense because, like I say, everything's spaced out, so they got to have some gas stations enough to say, okay, we're running out of gas. This is the place you call. So we come across, which is, and this just shows how this film is dated. If a Gen Zer doesn't know what this is, he comes across a phone booth that's in this at this gas station, which I rarely see anymore. I don't know if you see any of them anymore either, of a telephone booth. And he goes to try to make a call. He's about to make a call. He sees these 2 police officers ride up. They don't even see him. They're not even paying no attention to him. So they're coming up on him, and he gets scared. And I'm not going to say this is a dick move on his part, but I guess he doesn't know what to do. His mind is racing. He doesn't know what to do.
He starts making some very bad mistakes, like picking up the revolver, and then now basically kidnapping cops. Although in some ways you could say it's kind of smart, but like, because he definitely wants to get law enforcement involved. The problem is he doesn't know how far Ryder's going to go to fuck him over either.
Right. And we're like I say, he decides to say, let's see if I can get in touch, because they get in the car and they start to roll out, and they're going, down the road, what. And he asks the officer, can we get someone in charge on, who's in charge of the police and everything. And we're introduced, but we just hear the voice of this actor, Jeffrey DeMann, who is the I forget his
Captain
last
Estridge.
yeah,
Yeah.
Captain Actress, yes. So he gets involved with him. We just see him in voice for now, but we'll see him in body later. He tells him, Halsey's pretty much telling him, like, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's like this guy picked me. I mean, I picked this guy up. He's been terrorizing me all this time. He's been doing shit and killing. It's like, the captain. The captain says, like, what you expect me to do? He's like, man, I don't know. You tell me. And the funny thing is, when he says that, he sounds so teenagerish when he says that. I mean, he was of that age. He sounds just like a teenager would respond. He would sound like a early 18-year-old, whatever, and because he's confused, he's scared, he's frustrated, he doesn't know what to do, he doesn't know what to say, he doesn't know what to comprehend with. So
yeah,
the what's his name again, the officer,
Estridge.
Estridge.
Captain
Okay,
Estridge. Yeah.
Captain Estridge pretty much tells him, if you lay down your gun now and give up, will you abide by me? I'll do everything to protect you, all these things. Here's another moment where at least I feel like, okay, he'll be safe, he'll be okay, he'll be fine. This movie does not play around when it shit is like, we're about to shut that shit down quick. And as the captain says this, like a shark coming in from behind, here comes that black pickup truck coming behind. And it's like, oh shit. And it was like, what's about to happen? And all of a sudden, Ryder just executes these cops just like that. It's like, bam. It's like, damn. Like, he's like, what the fuck? And look, Halsey's response is so on point. He's like, no. You're like, what the fuck? It's like, what the hell? It's like, I'm like, and he just drives off. He's like, well, I killed 2 more people. It won't matter.
He's like, yeah, he just rides up into the hills, man. He's like, got his cigarette, and Ryder's like, yep, okay, game on, let's keep going.
Oh my god. I mean, it's almost, so you say he's toying with him, but it's like at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna give you the chance to, ride this. I mean, get out of this. You're gonna ride this beast as far as I'm gonna let you, And I'm like, it's like, damn, dude, what are you doing? It's like, if you want to kill people, just kill them. Just leave this kid out of this. No, they get caught. These cops get killed. He gets out of the car. He's running up the hill, as you say, and he's just like I'm losing it. So it's like he has his gun, and he's just going insane right now. And he takes the gun. He's like, he's literally laughs like, and he takes the gun. And in a sense of just like, I can't take this no more. I'm gonna pop myself, I'm gonna do myself in. And it's almost like a symbolism in this moment where you see the light of the sun come out of the cloud from behind, and it shines on him. It's almost like a symbolism saying, hey, yeah, you're going through hell right now, because he's literally going through hell, but. Yeah. You can't stop. You can't be weak enough to say give in and just kill yourself. You do that, then this guy's won. He's done what he says he's going to do. I mean, he's doing more than he's usually doing, but he's doing something that's beyond the call of duty in terms of killing people. He's like, he wants you involved, so don't give in to his manifestations of just following suit. So he decides, like, okay, I got to keep walking. I got to keep going. I got to keep. I don't know where he's going to take up from now. So he heads to another out in the boondocks diner. Comes in there. Another diner. I mean, you know what? I should have put up a counter how many diners was in this picture. I
drink for every diner he shows up in.
Yeah, I mean, I forget because it's like, how many diners was he in this? But anyway, he goes up to this diner, and the old man that's in there, he says, um, "What you been through? What you been doing?" He's like, he says, "Nothing, nothing
Yeah,
happened."
nothing.
And he's so mortified. He's just like, "Nothing's happened. Everything's. You have any coffee? It's brewing." He said, "It's brewing. Can you give it to me in one of the booths?" It's like he says, "Are you all right, kid?" And he just be honest when he says. They say, "No." He says it
No.
so quietly. He says it so demurely. It's just like, "I'm not okay, because whatever my world was before is gone. Whoever
He's
this
like, I
person."
should have listened to my mother.
Yes, really, dude. This is where we go back to the point where he and think about this. This is another thing I think anybody can look at this picture. He's literally going through a war with his mind and his body in terms of what he's going through. When you see him at the beginning, he looks so innocent. He looks like he's somebody who's hasn't gone through
Oh yeah,
basic
he looks
training.
like he has no care in the world whatsoever. He's having a grand time. I mean, got great job just driving a car from point A to B. That's why he thought, hey, I'll get someone to talk to while I drive, but nope, not a good idea.
So in that midst of all these things, he and as the movie goes further, you see him dramatically, mentally, physically become more aged in terms of what he's going through and experience. So when he gets to the booth, he's sitting there. Out of nowhere, here comes John, and he immediately says to him, "Say, how do you like Shitsville?" You know. Now I got to tell you, this moment here, it's not supposed to be funny, but to me, this is one of the funniest moments in this picture. It's not. It's not even supposed to be a comedic moment, but when he pulls out the gun, and he says, "I'm gonna." It's like, "You stay right there. I'll blow you." And then he mentions, he said, "The gun is empty." It's like, damn, he's had an empty gun all this time. But that's not the funny part. When what happens, it's what he does next. What Ryder does next. He says, "Shoot me," and he says, "I will, please. Oh, I will." He puts his hand underneath the table and does this, just to play with, just to fuck with him. So, he knows he's gonna try to shoot him. He's like, "I don't believe that the gun is not loaded." He doesn't believe that. When I I kid you not, Loomis, when he hits the table, that's like bam. He's like, he starts shooting, dude.
You're click, 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 click. There's
Dude,
nothing.
no matter how many times I watch this film, I always crack my side up seeing this part, because it's like, this is how far gone he has taken this person.
He's
Yes, wait a
driven
minute.
him
Let
insane.
me get. Yes, over. This is a very crazy film. Trust me. It's a psychological film, so
It's
it's going to
so
take you
well
on a
done,
ride.
though. The
But
acting is just so well done.
yes, that's another thing. The acting is so well done in here. I feel like that's why I say pictures like this don't get the credit that they deserve. But hey, it's here, near, there. But yeah, when he does that, you know, he just like saying, okay. Then he asked the ultimate question: "Why are you doing this to me?" He doesn't give him no answer. All he says, like, "You a smart kid. You'll figure
Hmm.
it out." And then he
Yeah.
puts these. Wait a minute. Let me see. Hold up. I got to do this for effect. He puts these pennies on his eyes. He licks them first.
Yeah.
And he does that, and it's so. And see, I didn't understand the meaning of that before, but that's something the sailors, I think, do, or I think the
It's
merchant
some
of
sort of, I'm not really 100% sure. It's definitely something to do with death and
yeah,
Catholicism, I think. Sort of like a passage to, I mean, it probably means a few different things for different cultures, but
right.
at one point for carrying, yeah, take you across the river Styx sometimes, like when you look at Clash of the Titans, you needed coins,
Yes,
something like that. So it has different references throughout history, but certainly plays a factor in when you're dead, like it's something to do with death.
and it's a very effective. And see, it's And again, when I say, I mentioned something before behind the scenes where I said that it's funny how, we have some people in Hollywood who do great writing, and they give out some metaphors, but it's like the people watching are not going to grasp it right away, because it's like, we don't want to see all this. We don't want to see these kind of, moments. And it's like, it's actually a very effective moments, because it's playing into the story in a psychological sense of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ryder, we still don't know what his motivation is. We just know that he loves to kill people. He loves to take lives. We don't really know what his motivation is. So to take this kid who's basically a baby, and he's putting him through a war of wills, in a sense, he's letting him know, it's like, okay, you think you know everything, but you have no idea. So he passes him this napkin that has, or I guess you can say handkerchief, and it's like 6 bullets for this gun. He sees this, and it's like, okay, if this is what I need to do, then damn be all. I'm going to just take it and just see what goes next. So he takes the bullets, and as he takes them, we see a bus pull up with people getting out, and they go into the restaurant. I guess it's there for like the 20, 30 minutes, something like that. We don't really know the allotted
It's like a
time.
break, yeah.
Yeah. So they're there for because we see, and that's the thing. I love this moment, where it's people just doing ordinary people just doing casual things. We see a man right there at the window while Halsey is getting on the bus. We see this man, takes out his calculator, pulls out some, notes or paper or whatever, and he starts calculating, just ordinary things, something for the office. And we don't really think about it, but it's like we're realizing that everything that's done mundanely every day is casually just being put before you, let you know, like, you're doing these things. These ordinary people just doing things, but you have no idea that someone is living a life of torment. You have no idea.
Yeah.
So he gets on the bus. He pretty much, hides in the bathroom. And shows how much he knows about guns. He knows no idea. It's a revolver. He's trying to pick at it. He's trying to open it, trying to get it, and it's trying to open it, the cylinder and everything. So when he does figure it out, puts the bullets in, does that, and once he's done that, he hides in the bathroom until everyone gets on and the bus starts moving. And as the bus leaves, as I said before, I love the cinematography in this picture. There's a vast view of the diner, and as the bus pulls off, we see the pickup coming from far end of the picture. Which, like I say, and I have to tell people like this: if you're not familiar with what anamorphic film is, that's what this film was filmed in. It's filmed in anamorphic, where you get a wide vista,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the truck come around the corner and start to follow. I'm just like, wow, he's there. And he's just like, I want to see how this rides out. We're going to see how this goes. So I'll pass it to you to where this is going in terms of he's on the bus.
Yeah.
What happens next in terms of this?
So he gets out of the bathroom. He sits in the back seat of the bus. Obviously, he doesn't have a ticket, but he's figuring this will be his way to kind of get out from where he is travel wise. And so, unfortunately, he sees that this is the same bus that she takes. So she starts to come back to go to the bathroom, and then he tried to like not be noticeable, but it's hard not to know who he is at this point. Yeah. So he grabs her and kind of keeps her quiet, and is trying to explain to her that I'm not a killer, yada yada yada. He's been trying to convince her since he first met her that this is other shit's going on, that he's not the one that's been doing this. So, and in some ways she's been showing good faith about it, kind of saying, okay, either trying to keep herself alive or whatever. But then we hear the sirens of the cop car behind the bus. And so I think at this point, Halsey's like, I'm fucked. I just can't do anything. I can't do anything right. I'm going to get arrested here. Yeah. So they stop the bus. He just walks off, and there's a couple of cops there, and he drops the revolver by the door of the bus and walks over. in front of him. They're like telling him to put his hands up. And of course, one cop is like, just your gung ho, like, yeah, you killed my friends. You know, those are good dudes, good cops. And then he starts getting like a little bit bad cop. He's like, did you just spit on my sleeve? You need to like lick that off. And of course, his buddy's like, dude, come on, seriously. But this guy's not relenting. He's like, no, fuck this dude. And like, obviously, Halsey has no weapon. He's got his hands up, nothing going on. But this guy, this cop, is about bent on just shooting him where he is. Like, he really is just kind of pissed off it because he believes that Halsey's been killing his buddies. There's a lot of dead cops in this movie.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, like when you just think that this cop's gonna just end him right there, Nash grabs the gun from the ground out by the bus, and she tells them to put their guns down. Now, as Jedi pointed out, this is a very small town enclosed, so everyone kind of knows each other. These cops know her; she knows the cops. So she's like, you know, she understands what's happening here. Like, even if Halsey's guilty or something, like what they are about to do as cops is way worse in her mind. It's like killing him instead of taking him to justice. So she's like, put the guns down. And then they get into the cop car and take off. And then, of course, we get this big ass chase scene with these cop cars. And of course, you showed it earlier with the flips and stuff like that because he's got to avoid being caught by the cops while at the same time stay away from Ryder, who's also out there playing around too. So, yeah, so he's been able to kind of do his own justice by keeping himself driving and stuff. But they even come across a fucking helicopter that's like,
yes, that's
trying to hunt him down. So it's like, so much is happening. And then, like, all of a sudden, of course, again, as Jedi pointed out earlier, we have no idea what the fuck Ryder wants, but he shows up and fucking shoots at the helicopter, basically taking out the engine. So all this shit is going on. Like, he's helping Housley while actually tormenting him at the same time.
And you know, in that moment too, before he shoots the helicopter, you notice how he looks at him while he's driving. It's like he's kind of like, "This the best you doing? This the best you got?" You know, I mean, it's like seem like you ought to have something more up your sleeve. You know, he's looking kind of disappointed in a sense. You know, it's like, really? You're
yeah, he's like Road Warrior. He's like, you fucking disappointment. Come on now.
Yeah, I was like, they say, did when he shoots, dude. I love this moment too. It's like I'm thinking, like, okay, he's shooting at the helicopter. It's not really going to do anything. When he shoots the helicopter, it starts acting up. It just falls like a stone, you know. And then it takes out these other cop cars, you know. This one car just goes right through it, you know. It's like, and see, I know the horror element was there, or the gore element was there in your face because we know that there's people in that helicopter, but now they're pretty much obliterated and
wiped out.
Yeah, wiped out once that cop car goes through it. It flips around, you know, and it's like, oh my god, this is so brutal, you know. I mean, then like I say, then as all that's going on, all that carnage is going on, we see that Nash and Halsey see him drive off, and you know he's lighting another cigarette. You know, it's like all in a day's work. So, so once all that is done, they come pulling over. And, you know, Halsey tells him, you know, let's go, let's get on that. And she asked the question, why didn't he kill us?
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just go. And she really emphasized the next time when she's asked, like, why didn't he kill us? It's like, at this point, he's really has been, you know, baptized by this incredible notion, you know. I mean, I don't want to put it in the religious terms, but he has been literally been drenched in what this person has been doing, and his mind is just like, okay, you know, whatever happens next, I'm just gonna have to play it by ear, you know. And it's like, wow, you know, it's just crazy, you know. So we walk to yet another diner, or more of a truck stop, and it really is not just a truck stop; it's a truck stop / motel, you know. stop over there, and for once he gets a chance to get himself clean. And he tells her, it's like, and she goes, she wants to try to call a father, I think a father or a mother, I think is a
I think it's a father.
yeah, father. Tries to call, but he said, no, don't do that, because I've tried everything under the sun, nothing works. Everything's it's fucked. It's done. I can't do it. So he gets a chance to sleep again, and incredible as it sounds, you feel like he's in another safe place. You think he's in another, and especially with her, seem like should nothing happen, should nothing be going on. Oh boy, well, we got to find out in a few minutes that it is. He goes to take a shower, wipe off the day, because it's the end of the day. It's in fact, it's a new day. It's actually like 2
nighttime.
or 3. Yeah, it's because it's Sunday morning. Was it? Does it turn Sunday? I mean, no. What it was is I think it was about to be midnight, because this shows, and anyone who watches this shows me and Nubis' age. This is at a time when the local broadcasting system would come up and say, "We're ending your day with this particular broadcast," and then it goes to snow. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, I believe it or not, actually, I kind of miss those days. Tell you the truth. I mean,
I used to tell Neko all the time, like, because I was probably about, in the 70s, I'd be, I was 1 through 10 during that time. And I remember, like, when I used to enjoy staying up late, and then midnight would hit, and then the national anthem would come on, and then like, it would just turn to snow, and I'd start crying because I wanted more TV.
Yes, me too.
So when they came up with the idea of, like, all night broadcasting, I was like, oh, this is great. This is my life. I'm all happy now.
And that's me.
Back in the day, man, once midnight hit, national anthem would come on, and because that's the way they did it, and that was it. They turn off, and nobody would broadcast about 6 in the morning. I think 6 or 7. So.
And that's how it was. I mean, that's why I say the things they used to do back then. These Gen Zers will never understand. And I'm pretty sure they would say, it's like, how did you guys live? It's like, trust me. Think. Well, I always tell them, well, think about
no phones, no gaming computers at that time.
But to get what was going on, this moment is where you really get the horror, more of a horror element, or kind of moment where she's asleep. He's in the shower. He's in the bathroom. He's changing. We see how the camera pans over, and we see that Ryder is standing there in the shadows. He is just like, dude, that is such Jason moment right there. That's like a Jason Voorhees moment without the mask. It's like he's just standing there, just stealthy. Then he sits beside her, lays beside her, and he doesn't think much about it. He's just like, oh, I'm so tired, but I want to keep on killing people. And she feels like this is Halsey, but he gets the best of her, and he takes her away. We don't know where he takes her. And this is when we hear that the national broadcast system come on, the TV come on, and it's like Halsey's like, Nash, and like I say, we're in the Sunday mode now. It's Sunday early morning, or no, it's ending with the Sunday thing, and with the Saturday, and it's coming up on Sunday. But anyway, we don't know what's going on. We just know that he hears the TV come on, and it's like, what's going on? And he rips the towel holder off the wall, and it's like, okay, he's here. He's taking her. We're coming up on one of the most gruesome moments in this picture, and we don't even, and it's not, and trust me when I say it's not even gory. It's just that it's left to your imagination, to the viewer's imagination.
Plus, it's also not what you would expect, because
yes,
a lot of movies generally with these kind of themes or horror films often end up with the happy endings. Now, some cases, this is still kind of a happy ending towards the very end of this film, but this moment is not.
It's not one of those. And what it is that Ryder, wow, I gotta say, he's very inventive. He does this insane thing by strapping Nash between the cab and the trailer of a truck. And oh my God. And I just want to say that this moment here, now, back in the day, they actually had actors or actresses do stuff like this where they were totally safe, but still sense of danger, afoot. They probably wouldn't do it now because it's like we don't want this actors. We still want them to be here in order to do the work, but she was literally between. I mean, Jennifer Jason Leigh was literally between a cab and a trailer for that sequence. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're like, damn, he's literally got her between a rock and a hard place, if you want to say. So they say, Halsey says, do something, and this is where we get the introduction of visually of the sheriff. I mean, not the sheriff, but the captain. Seen here. And we finally see him, and we see that he's telling them, and Halsey's saying, do something about this. He said, we can't, because the second we shoot him, that foot's gonna come off the clutch, and that truck will roll, and you can forget about it. She's gone.
And the funny thing is that before you finish the story, when I look at this scene now, and my experience with working with Ryder Transportation, I've moved trucks and trailers like that before in my life. So when I think about it now, when I watch, it's like, he could have got this done. But yeah, so I'll explain, like, once you're done, explain the scene.
Okay. Well, pretty much the captain tells him, get in there and see what you can do. See if you can talk him down. Ryder has no intention of saying, I'm going to go quietly into the night with what he's about to do. He's saying, the gun is loaded. Pick it up. And he tells him, he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll keep my hands up while you pick it up. And he's telling you, it's like, they'll catch you. It's like, yeah, so what? And he's revving the engine up on the truck. He say, pick up the gun. He's saying, pick it up. No, don't dick around. Pick the damn gun up. So Halsey picks up the gun, puts it in his head. He say, you know what to do. And he tells him, he say, she'll die. And here's a moment where Ryder actually gives him another face of disappointment. It's like, he's just like, he said, you useless waste. And I'm just thinking to myself, you're not about to do what I think you're about to do, are you? And in that moment, you're just thinking to yourself, he ain't shooting him. He's not going to kill. It's like he's not going to do anything. Ryder does the unthinkable. And, well, we hear and the funny thing is, this is good sound design, I have to say, too. We hear screaming, but we hear some bits of tearing, dismemberment, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
And it's and like I say, it's so cascade into your brain that you realize that, damn, this dude really doesn't give a fuck about human life at all. He just saying, I'm saying kill me, but what he's pretty much saying is like, kill me so I can stop killing, but you have to make a sacrifice, But it's like, well, fuck that. I'm going to sacrifice her anyway, and
that's where the dilemma is, and that's why, like, of course, for anyone who's not familiar with rigs, is that on the main panel next to the steering wheel and stuff. So yes, if Halsey shoots Ryder, she's still going to die because his foot's going to come off, and then the clutch, and then it's just going to shoot forward and basically tear in half anyway.
Right.
But if Halsey had known anything about rigs, there's a button on the main panel that if you pull it up, it puts the air brakes on, which automatically locks it into place. Okay. So he could have shot him and then immediately pulled that, and it would have stopped the truck. It would just stalled out at that point. But unless you had knowledge of such things, you wouldn't have known that.
And I'm pretty sure I'm going to say
most people would not have that knowledge.
Exactly.
So they look at this thing and they say, well, he wants him to kill him, but killing him still kills her. So there's some sort of weird end game that Ryder has. Like, it's like, well, if he kills me, which solves my problem, but then it makes him a killer because then he's going to be responsible for her death anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What's this?
Were any of the Hitcher movies on the Sci-Fi Channel? I don't know.
Sure. That's what I was gonna say.
I don't know if I've seen the Hitcher on like regular TV at some points, but not. I'm not so sure about the sci-fi in particular. In fact, like I said, I know they made a remake, but I didn't bother with it. So
And that one stars Sean Bean. I'm just like, come on, man, really?
yeah, good actor, but again, you have to live up to some pretty tall order there with
Yes, fill
Ryder
them
Howard.
shoes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but well, but like I say, we feel and that shows right there that Ryder doesn't care about getting caught, because if he did, he wouldn't have done what he did. So they take him and put him in jail, and pretty much Halsey has gotten checked out for pretty much psychological hurt, because he's been in a way where Nash was torn in half. You can say that Halsey's been torn in half mentally, because everything that he felt or whatever before, his old innocence is gone now. He's no
Yeah,
longer that person that was before. So they go to interrogate Ryder, and one of the things that the captain mentions is that we ran fingerprints. He doesn't have no driver's license, no birth certificate, and they coming up with nothing. Almost like it's almost like if like the Joker, he has no kind of prints that are saying or whatever, and then nothing's coming up. So it's like he's an enigma. It's like, who is this guy? We don't know who he is. It's just like he just randomly came out of nowhere. So
yeah,
and this is why I come back to where some have said that Ryder could be some phantom, some kind of spirit, evil spirit that's just manifests itself into this body, and he's doing this hellacious things. But I mean, that's just a theory. But and you could take it as you will with that kind of thought process. But while they're interrogating him, it's almost like Halsey and Ryder now have this connection in terms of Ryder is in this room, and he's almost like he can feel Halsey's presence behind the glass, and it's just weird, because then the captain said, "Well, let's go in there and see, talk to him or whatever, and." When he goes in there, you got to kind of shake hands, but then that's when Halsey just spits in his face. It's like, okay, this was a bad idea, everything.
yeah,
Ryder just glassily just wipes this saliva off his face and just kind of plays with it, and I'm just like, this dude is fucking sick, whoever he is, he's just one twisted fuck, So
yeah,
we're coming up to the point where, okay, he's getting transported somewhere, we don't know where, and hopefully just basically a place where he'll never see the light of day again. So he gets on this bus, and the captain's going to take Halsey somewhere, because like I say, Halsey has pretty much been baptized by the horrificness of what he's been through, and he's realizing now that, what, I should have done this in the first place, which is smoke this fool. So as they drive away in separate ways, we're cutting back forth and forth with bus and the car, the SUV, and it's kind of funny because we're seeing Ryder in the back of the bus, and he's just casually looking over at the guards, looking at their guns and and you're kind of thinking like, so how the hell does this guy get out of his restraints? I just like, how does he do that? But again, before we get to that, Halsey says, you're never going to contain him.
yeah,
You're never going to hold him, And the captain even says, look, I don't know what kind of, psychological crap you got going on with this guy, but it's in our hands. There's nothing you can do about it. It's done. Forget about it. This is where Halsey says, you know what? Nope. Whatever I was before, I'm no longer that. That person is gone now. So he grabs the captain's gun, and the captain actually says, you're not going to use that. Where he pulls back the hammer and says, like, stop the car. And he's like, you're going to get yourself killed. And if you don't, you're going to be in a whole world of trouble. This is where I said before, you don't know where this film is going. He's pretty much saying, he's like, it's something I got to do. And it's like he leaves the captain in the road, and he drives off going after the bus transport. So as we coming up, we kind of thinking like, okay, how can he possibly get out? He's chained. He's chained up. He's restrained. Yeah, this guy's got some Houdini shit going on, So with that being said, I'll let you continue on what happens next in this moment.
Yeah, so this is actually a great set of cinematography because as Halsey comes up on the bus, the action's already been taking place, and so the back door of the bus opens, and there's Ryder with a shotgun, a combat shotgun, and immediately jumps on the front of the car, busting through the windshield.
I love this moment right here.
Yeah. And then the bus just kind of careens off. So he's already killed everybody. So it's almost as if Ryder knew he was going to be there. Like, it's like he knew that Halsey was going to come after him. Like, it's that whole thing you were talking about. It's like they have telepathy, but they don't really have telepathy. But they know each other now well enough through all the shit they've been through that he knew that Halsey was not going to let him be. He knows they know each other too well now. So, he jumps through that, and then immediately Halsey hits the brakes, and Ryder goes flying down the road yet again,
right?
Just like earlier when he kicked him out the car. So then Halsey gets out, and Ryder kind of struggles a little bit, but then he kind of like looks like he passes out or something, or at least we think he does. And Halsey comes up, and he's kind of like just nudging him with his foot, and he's got the shotgun that he picked up from the road. And obviously, the viewers as us, we think that Ryder's done and gone. So Halsey turns, and then you get the whole cliche where Ryder stands up behind him, and then immediately Halsey starts plugging holes in with the shotgun and basically kills him.
Yes.
And then you just get this nice little scene where basically Halsey's leaning against the truck, and just look at the sunset of the car and sees the sunset there, which leads us to that now he's finally finished or done what Ryder wanted him to do from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the movie it's very interesting how it sets everything up, and people will say, well, had Halsey killed this guy long before, maybe a lot of people's lives would be saved. But, at the same time as, you have to think about it from the perspective of Halsey, who's a young kid. Like, he doesn't want to kill people. No matter who they are. Like, it's not in his DNA. But I guess you have to say he kind of had to grow up fast with the way the shit was unraveling for his life there. And so that's really how it turned out. Yeah, it turned out to be a very good movie. And I don't know if the ending quite matched everything else that we saw. Like, it was kind of uneventful, but, it had to have some sort of conclusion.
Well,
I don't know.
I was going to say, it's that's the thing. It just ends, and I think that's the thing again with this picture. It just leaves you with questions. It doesn't leave you with nothing to really gain no real big hope or whatever. It's just like, well, he did the deed, and there you go, but where does he go from here? He doesn't really care because he did what he had to do, and that's the thing. So I don't know.
Then you're just like me, and you're like, man, that guy that was waiting for that car in San Diego is going to be very disappointed.
Well, look, now I guarantee you that sometimes does come in my mind. It's like, that dude is really going to be without a ride anytime soon. And it's like, so it's like, where's my damn car at? So it's like, well, in the forefront, it's this guy's fault. He pretty much made it where you can't get your ride no more. So it's like, yeah. But and those kind of questions do come up. They do kind of flounder. But in the end, it's like, this is a moment where Halsey, whatever he was before, as I mentioned, he was just this dumb little kid, just shooting the breeze, just thinking like, hey, life is, pretty easy, it can be, but there are dangers out there, And as I said before, he was baptized by the reality of that. Nothing is a pretty picture, Nothing's a life, nothing's a bowl of cherries, and you're gonna get a lot of sour grapes, pretty much,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but before we do anything else, let me ask your rating on this film, and what's your whole tone about the film? What's your feeling of it? As the saying
So
goes.
yeah, I hadn't watched this in a very long time, but uh loved it back then. I still love it a lot now. It's still a fantastic film. It's held up over the years. Like if you want solid thriller movies and stuff with like a little bit of horror, a little bit of action, this is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Um some people will look at Rutger Hauer and his legacy as an actor and say, well, his best role is like in Blade Runner or Blind Fury or something like that because he did end up becoming sort of like a action hero, despite all the like villainous roles he played. He was like an action hero too. Wanted Dead or Alive and Blind Fury, they
Yes,
gave
I
him a
say
different
so.
look.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you, everybody right now, if his most iconic role is this one for me,
Yes.
because he has done a masterful job with this character and I'm actually glad they didn't do sequels to it. Didn't need anything crazy like that. It was just perfect the way it is. And it still stands the test of time, and he's still a great actor. And for me, this film still gets a 10 out of 10, without a doubt.
Cool. Well, I mean, and I kind of feel the same way with the news. I mean, this film is one of those very It's definitely '80s film, but it's not
Mhm.
so much cheesy in the terms of like it's like something like
It's
Commando.
actually really not cheesy at all. Like
Yeah.
you'd watch like a Arnie film or
Mhm.
a Stallone film, like
So,
some of them, and you'd say, "Oh, yeah, it's a lot of cheese. We like cheese, but this is not like that. This doesn't really have cheese at all. It's a genuine like
what's up?
thriller, like really good film."
Yes, it's a very good thriller, and I appreciate that for that, And one of the things I can say with this picture is that it is downright one of those films that is too bad because this film was done on a $9 million budget, but it didn't make this budget it didn't make the money that it was supposed to. It made like less than its budget, which is
It
sad.
should have. It should have made money. It's a really good film, but
Yes.
you know,
But aside from that, though, this picture is very, it's a well-made film, and I just wish people would stop in Hollywood, stop remaking stuff that's already been done right the first time. And like I say, this film, and I will say this, I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10 because it's that good. I just wish it got the better kudos that it did back in the day when it was released. But hey, some things like The Thing or some other films that didn't get
mhm.
the recognition that it did, it gets its pretty much its wealth in terms of time. Time ages like a
Well,
fine wine.
this is definitely a cult classic. Like this
Yes.
will always live up to the reputation and stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah.
So, but like I say, I give it a 10 out of 10. And like I say, if anyone who's never watched it before, hey, check it out. Me and New is greatly up. Guarantee that you'll enjoy it. So, but with that being said, let me ask you what you got coming up on future dates on your channel.
So later tonight, Olvin, who's been in the chat with us a little bit today, he and I will be doing another vintage cult cinema on my channel for 1981's Wolfen.
Okay. And
And
you
then
say that's going to
tomorrow,
be, but you say that's going to be is that going to be a live broadcast?
nah, it's just gonna be a recording. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
this one's only gonna be recording. But tomorrow, Mr. Tony Dead and I and the Wise will be doing a review of Long Legs from 2024. And then next Monday, hopefully, I'm going to be doing my live unboxing. I have a lot of stuff to show people, so I'll be chatting with you all as I do my unboxing and show my stuff I got. So,
Cool.
and then yeah, I'll update people with the rest of the week. But as far as right now, that's pretty much what's coming up immediately for me.
Well, for me, I have this is my, like I say, this is my first live retreat into my channel, and trust me when I say I have enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm glad I had a partner in crime with me on this, and I enjoyed it. But next week I have another live stream which will be coming along on Saturday, which is going to be talking about the Godzilla Raise Again, which is going to be the 70th anniversary of it, because it turns 70 years old this month, and it gives us the introduction of Anguirus. So hopefully a certain person that I got in contact with will be able to join us and talk about it. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I mean, look, you're the mystery box we appreciate all the time, brother. Trust me when I say that. And besides that, I know I got something, especially talking about Kevin. I'm going to be getting on it's a podcast talking about the X from outer space, and I think we got something doing with the Rains of Fire, if I'm not mistaken. Rain of Fire, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's coming up in the future. But also, just to say what's coming at the end of the next month, I got something going on with. I won't say much, but I'm going to be doing a live unboxing myself, and that'll probably be at the beginning of next month. But at the end of the month, I'm going to be celebrating a certain company's 50th anniversary itself, and I'll be doing that live. That'll probably be during Memorial Day. So, but other than that, I mean, I'll just put that out there, and the rest y'all find out when y'all see it, So.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I thank you all. I thank you, Anubis, for joining me on this incredible ride. I know it was, a little sketchy on my part, but you know what?
Yeah, dude, you did it flawlessly. This was a joy and honor to be on your first live stream. I'm honored to be a part of this.
Like I say, timing is everything, and I love it, and I appreciate you doing it. And whenever else someone comes on, hey, we will do it again. So. But with that being said, I'm going to close out as I usually do on my channel, but it's going to be with this being said. Everyone who's in the chat, hey, thank you and hey, well, let me see this. Wait a minute. Yes, let me put that up there. Okay, well, thank you, brother. I'll definitely go and see it then. Appreciate that. I'll go and end this review by saying, y'all take care. Please be patient. And not saying kaiju, I will say keep the film legacy alive, because we got to, because these things are classics. We want to preserve them always. Peace out.
Later.
Yes.